G'day everybody. Well, it's June here in Australia and that means it's winter and it's pretty chilly. It's mid-afternoon right now and oh man, it is cold out here. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you just a look around at some of the jobs that I need to do, some jobs that I have been doing. It's not really a garden tour like I've done in the past. It's more sort of, I don't know, I've got to get this done and that sort of thing. So let's get stuck into it. The chickens, well, chooks as we say here. It's winter, so the egg production has slowed right down. That's fine. It's what happens in winter. I've got one in particular that she's still laying every day, and one that lays every second day. So we've got a trickle going. The ones in the other yard, they've stopped laying at all. That's fine. They're great companions to have, and I like hanging out with them. And little mama in the orchard, she does her thing, scratching away in the orchard and digging things up, and she's still laying too. So we've got a trickle of eggs, which is fine. And I did freeze some as well earlier in the year, so we actually have a backup supply of eggs, probably enough to get us through winter, so all good on eggs. The orchard really is showing signs of winter as all the leaves have dropped down and it's looking very morbid and dreary, but I've got beautiful buds just sitting on branches ready to burst to life in spring, and that's going to be an awesome time of year. With my citrus row, I really need to get out there and give them a bit of a prune. It's well overdue, so I'm going to do it now. It's only a very light prune just to shape them and sort of to tell the branches what's going on and where to go and that sort of thing. I do have some fruit growing on them, not much though. I've been picking it off because the trees are so small, because I really want the energy to go into the trees and get those trees to grow. So minimal fruit, but I will benefit from that later on. The pumpkins have really had their day. Winter has come in, the cold has gotten to the leaves, they're dying off, it's the end of their season, so I just need to collect these up and store them with all the others. Of course I need to cure, but being pumpkins and squashes, butternut squashes, they're going to store away for such a long time. Really happy with these two. I've had to restart new compost bays. This is only the first one at the moment, and it's a beautiful, beautiful compost. I've managed to save it because what's happened is my old compost bay down in the back of the yard, that used to get flooded by local stormwater from a drain behind our property. So I'm pulling it apart, restarting again, and hopefully I'll have beautiful compost and not lose a whole year's worth like I did last year. The raspberries are looking pretty sad, but it is that time of year where they die off and they go dormant, and they'll come back in spring. So I need to get in and cut them down to the ground, and also I need to leave some of the canes from last year up for the varieties that fruit on the second year growth. So yep, that's another job I've got to do. I've been getting old bird netting and putting it over my garden beds and drilling in screws partially into the tops of the beds. That way I can stretch the net over and then raise it in the middle with a stick or something, and that's stopping the free-ranging chickens from getting there and eating all my veggies and digging up my garden beds. I had to do an emergency planting of garlic into a grow bag because rats and mice got into my main garlic bed and decimated it, so I've done an emergency planting of garlic recently. And just beside that, I've got some potatoes that are ready to harvest, which is great because I've actually got another garden bed in the ground that's full of potatoes, and we should have a nice lot of potatoes out of this batch. I've got brassicas growing in garden beds and some grow bags and pots, and I'm starting to see a bit of pest pressure, so I'm making myself my chili water mix and I'm spraying that on them, and that seems to be doing the trick and slowing down all those beautiful leaves getting eaten. The carrots are going well, and I need to get into the garden bed and start going through the ones that have actually matured. Now these ones are self-seeding. Well, what I do is I let them go to seed every year, and then I give them a rub and let those seeds just fall anywhere and then blow in the wind even. And this particular garden bed, I get to harvest carrots all through the year at different stages because of those seeds falling at will. The worm farm is going absolutely fantastic. I've just changed over a new layer. So I've got this beautiful tray of castings that's ready for the garden and ready to make a worm tea. Really, really happy about my worms. Strawberries, oh my gosh, I've had so many strawberry runners this season. So I've been taking some of them out and sitting them into pots so they can grow roots into the pots. And there I go, I've got free strawberry plants. Looking forward to lots of strawberries this coming season. I really have to get going on these seedlings. I've got bok choy and spring onions, brown onions, red onions, spinach, lettuce. There's little baby bananas in the back there and lemongrass, and that all needs to come out and be separated and put into individual pots and bags and containers and garden beds, and yeah, I've got a bit happening which I really need to get on top of. The chili peppers still need harvesting. I've already started on the jalapenos and they're looking good. And then once they're all harvested, I really need to start cutting everything back and overwintering all the chili plants, so they're going to be good for next season. So yeah, there's that and plenty of other jobs to do. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind clicking on this video on the screen right now, it's going to take you to another one of my videos. I do have a new cooking or gardening video coming out in the next week. I hope to see you there on that video commenting. Thanks again. I do appreciate it. And until next time, bye for now.